With a free custom firmware called Magic Lantern, you can unlock some legitimately almost unbelievable video features with the Canon EOS M. Now I'm talking about features that are almost always only in high-end cinema cameras, kind of like this one right here. This is an ARRI Alexa Classic right here. I actually made a comparison between these two cameras because of that reason, because this camera has a lot of the features that this camera has. And so because of that, I actually made a direct comparison video between these two, which I'll link down in the description if you want to check it out. But that's not what we're talking about in today's video. This video is about this camera, and specifically a brand new version of Magic Lantern that was just released for the Canon EOS M. Now, if Magic Lantern and the Canon EOS M are both new to you and you haven't seen my channel before, at this point I've made a pretty big list of videos about this. But just to fill you in real quick about what I'm talking about, this is the Canon EOS M. This is a Canon mirrorless camera that was released in 2012. When this camera was released, it was meant for beginners. It's Canon's lower end mirrorless camera line. It really doesn't have a lot of features or much to it. However, I'm not sure how it really started, but some developers at Magic Lantern created this custom firmware for this camera as well as some other lower end Canon cameras. And that custom firmware essentially allowed you to unlock a bunch of features that were never intended to be used on this camera. And not only were these features not originally intended on this budget-friendly beginner mirrorless camera, they're actual professional video features that, like I said, are most of the time only on high-end cinema cameras. It can unlock features like false color, histograms, zebras, anamorphic D-squeeze, custom aspect ratios, HDR video, and most importantly, up to 14-bit true RAW video in multiple different resolutions. But it gets even better because a new Magic Lantern firmware was just released for this camera that allows you to record 14-bit RAW video up to 60 frames per second for slow motion video. Now before this update, you could really only record 24, 25, or maybe 30 frames per second in RAW video with this camera, which is still unheard of at its price point, but you couldn't really do any slow motion. You were stuck at, 24, 25 frames per second usually. And for me, that was a little bit limiting because I do a lot of slow motion video, and so this brand new update for Magic Lantern unlocked slow motion video in 14-bit RAW, so you can get those amazing raw colors and flexibility at up to 60 frames per second. Again, I'm still blown away at this update. This feature is almost unbelievable at this price point. Now that's not the only thing this update added, but that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on, but it really made the whole build more stable. Now I really want to give credit and thanks to everyone that's worked on this new update for Magic Lantern and everyone that's worked on Magic Lantern throughout the years in general. All of the devs that have worked on Magic Lantern have put countless hours into this to offer a free open source software for all of us to use. So I really do want to thank everyone, and I'm going to try to credit everyone I can either on screen or down in the description. So if you'd like to, go give thanks to all of them because I'm so appreciative, and I'm sure everyone that's used this firmware is so appreciative of everything they have done. I think this new update has really just taken this camera to a new level, and again, if you haven't checked this out yet, I would highly recommend checking out all those other videos I've made down in the description. Now there's two more awesome things I want to update you on real quick that also involve Magic Lantern, and the first thing is actually right around there. Let me go grab it. So this right here is actually a custom 3D printed cinema camera housing for the EOS M. Now you can probably tell I haven't actually installed the camera and built this out yet. You kind of have to do some DIYing to fit this camera inside of here. The screen goes on top here, the buttons go on the sides. Like, this isn't just a quick 3D printing project, this is a full rehousing project that I'm gonna link down in the description. You can actually purchase these. I mean, this also will take this camera to just a whole new level. It literally turns it into a cinema camera. You can put a V-mount battery on the back, you can put all the accessories, there's a bunch of quarter 20 mounts all around it. And I'm gonna be making a video about this when I actually do end up installing this camera into this rehousing. But it's still a little ways down the pipeline, so stay tuned for that and subscribe. But also, this right here is the Canon 5D Mark II. This is another camera that you can install Magic Lantern firmware on to record raw video with it. But the best part about this camera is it actually has a full frame sensor versus an APS-C or Super 35 sensor on the Canon EOS M. So the full frame sensor on this makes this also on paper the best full frame video camera you can get for this camera's price point, which is right around $300 to $400. I think it's kind of closer to $350 to $400 price point. But full frame raw video under $400. You're gonna want to stay tuned for this, do subscribe. I'm working on this video as well. But again, these take a lot of time to create, so you're gonna have to stay tuned. This one's also gonna be a little farther down the pipeline. But if you do want to see that, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed and stay tuned for that. And just let me know in the comments if you're excited for those videos.